It's a big old comic book review. Hello, howdy. Today I'm going to be reviewing some of the comic books that I have read recently, and I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on them. My name's Gabe, aka the Wannabe Critic, but I also work at a comic book company known as Shockham Comics. We're an independent studio. We have several projects that we're working on right now. Yes, it is my job, but I've always loved comics, and I'm pretty sure I always will. So let's take a look at what I've read recently. So, coming in strong, we have Absolute Batman number 2. Now, I have put out some thoughts already on my blog. That's usually where I put up my thoughts first. And if you would like to see that, that's probably either linked in the description or there's a link to it in my bio, which is in my link tree. Absolute Batman number 2, written by Scott Snyder and illustrated by Nick Dragotta, I think is how you say his name. Now, I'm very familiar with Scott Snyder's work. I am not super familiar with Mr. Dragotta's work, but I am now. I'm really enjoying this series. I'm honestly loving it. I'm a big Scott Snyder fan. I really fell in love with his work during the Court of Owls run during the New 52 era. I know a lot of people have negative things to say about the New 52. I'm really trying hard to not say anything negative about anyone else's work. Obviously, they're proud of it because they did it, but maybe the stories just don't resonate for a specific generation or time. I don't know. But I don't feel the need to really talk down on other people's work. We should approach these subjects from the standpoint of what did I enjoy versus what did I not enjoy. Hopefully there's some decent reasoning behind that other than I just don't like it just because I don't like it. You know what I mean? Anyways, side ramble. Absolute Batman issue 2, it's got this really dope thing going on because we're kind of seeing things from Alfred's perspective. By the way, this universe, the all-in universe, absolute universe, it's all a result of basically Darkseid energy clashing with other energy and creating this universe, which is how this absolute universe is made. That's in a nutshell what's going on. I'm sure there's some nerds that might be furious in the comments, but whatever. But this is not the Batman that you know and love. This is a blue-collar worker. This is a man who is unrefined. He seems to be kind of a bad guy, or at least has done dealings with bad guys in the past. You get the sense that this guy doesn't really play by the rules, which to me, I'm getting echoes of the Frank Miller Batman, of kind of this guy who has kind of lost a lot of his ideals and has lost a lot of his no-kill rule. And I'm not saying that this Batman likes to kill or anything, but I just get the similar energy with the way that it's drawn and just how unrefined this Batman is. Alfred's been stalking him, following him around as the Batman. Batman is having to deal with these new bad guys called the Party Animals, and they kind of resemble a Clockwork Orange type mentality. We learn more about them as we continue to read, obviously, but as Gotham gets worse and worse, you can see the Party Animals activity is really ramping up. The Gotham City Police Department isn't really doing anything about it, so there's only one answer, and that's Batman. There's a lot of really great surprises in this book, lots of great imagery, and spoiler alert for Absolute Batman number 2, there's a dump truck Batmobile that gets revealed, and I don't know, each of these books, I've read the first 2 issues, and both of them I had to read multiple times to really fully understand how I actually felt about it. I've already read issues 3 and 4 once, but I'm excited to go back through them again so I can gather my thoughts. Absolute Batman is an absolute winner, and I'm really enjoying my time with that. So that's Absolute Batman number 2. Next on the list is Absolute Flash number 1. This one just came out. This is the story of a girl. No, I'm just kidding. Absolute Flash came out in March of 2025, and I gotta say, this first issue, I'm not a huge Flash guy. I never have been, but I'm really invested in this Absolute universe, specifically because it's being led by Scott Snyder. So I've ordered a bunch of the Absolute books coming out. I loved this book for a few reasons. One, I really liked the art. It kind of gave me, I don't know, it was just much different. It's more vibrant, and I don't really know what to expect out of a Flash story because I don't read Flash usually. But we're following Wally West. Barry Allen is in the book, but we're kind of unclear as to what their relationship is as the two Flashes. With each of the Absolute stories, I know they're kind of trying to take the usual format and then kind of flip it on its head, and with Batman, I'm seeing a lot of the things that I understand about the universe, or at least, Batman's universe. But in terms of the Flash, I'm coming into this kind of blind. I know very little about the Flash and his lore, stuff like that. What I do know is that Wally has done something terrible and he's on the run, and it seems like Flash's, well-known bad guys, they're doing some interesting things with them, like maybe even trying to develop them into like weapons for the government type thing is kind of the vibes that I'm getting, question mark, which I dig. I mean, it's kind of interesting to think that like these villains might be the good guys, from like the government standpoint, but it seems to be like Wally is being hunted down. It also seems like they're using his powers as kind of like an allegory for what it's like to have anxiety. Like you can kind of feel it coming on, but there's not much you can do about it unless you've like actually taken time to learn how to deal with that anxiety. But even still, for most people who actually have really bad anxiety, like clinical anxiety, I'm sure that they will relate to this book. It makes total sense, and I totally got those undercurrents that they were trying to slip in there. The team behind it is Lemire, Robles, and Lucas. Sorry if I don't know who you guys are, but at least I picked up your book and I'm checking it out. So you didn't see that. It's all floppy now. So Absolute Flash #1. I'm subscribed to this book, so I'm going to be getting it as it rolls out. I think the next issue comes out in April of 2025. By the way, I'm filming this in March of 2025, just so you know. So next on the list is Eddie Brock Carnage. I'm going to review issues 1 and 2. So basically what's going on with this one, it's pretty self-explanatory. Eddie Brock and Carnage have been forced to bond together. Eddie thinks that he can handle Carnage since he, handled Venom, and he's been through all this stuff with Venom. And spoiler alert, he is totally having a hard time controlling the Carnage symbiote. Carnage can kill Eddie Brock at any time if he wants to. That's the difference between him and Venom. Like, whereas him and Venom really need each other, this is more of an agreement. But it's interesting because Carnage has made a deal with Eddie. He says that he won't kill Eddie, so the agreement is Eddie gets to latch on to another symbiote and, keep Carnage from going, running rampant, essentially. He'll get all his symbiote powers, all of the same stuff, maybe even a little bit better powers, potentially. But the kicker is that he has to kill somebody for Carnage, or let Carnage kill someone for him. So what's the compromise? They're tracking down serial killers, okay? So this, obviously, it's a little bit more adult, I would say. I haven't seen anything too terribly crazy. There is some imagery, though, that I definitely would not recommend for kids. I mean, it's Carnage. He was bonded with Cletus Cassidy. Cletus Cassidy is a very bad man. And, obviously he picked up some of his favorite traits from Cletus, and they were a match made in heaven whenever they were together. But, the story itself was interesting. Issue 1, it focuses them being on a plane, and the bad guy they have to hunt down is on the plane. They have to find him or her in some way without being discovered. So it's kind of interesting, some interesting imagery, and overall, I'm liking what they're doing in the relationship between Eddie Brock and Carnage. It's really, really cool. Issue 2, I just read this one today, actually, as of me filming this. It's more of the same, it's the same type of thing. They're kind of exploring the relationship between Carnage and Eddie a little bit better. This time, at the very beginning of the comic, they make it seem like Eddie's trying to turn himself in for killing the bad guy in the last issue. But for those of you who want to read it, I'll let that unfold for you. For my last comic today, it's one that I read recently. It's very, very special to me. I was able to finally get it in my hands, physical, for the first time, and read it, and that is Emma, Rise of a Mythic, issue #2. Now, Emma, Rise of a Mythic is Shockham Comics' flagship series. It's the series that we started with. Issues 4 and 5 are actively being worked on as we speak. Me and Grace, our writer, have jumped into really getting the story going and getting the pre-production going for issues 6, 7, and 8. So we're super duper excited. Issue 2, it was really cool to see it come to life. It's really just a direct continuation from Emma, Rise of a Mythic, issue 1. Emma encounters a deadly monster of some kind. It's a cybernetic. We kind of leave it on a cliffhanger at the end of issue 1, and then at the beginning of issue 2, it picks up right where it left off. So issue 3 is free to read digital at digital.shockham.com if you want to sign up and read it for free. Or if you want to order a copy of issues 1 or 2, you can go to shockhamcomics.com and check out our merch page where you can order stuff there. I'm really, really excited about what I do. I really enjoy creating comics with a really talented team, and I'm excited to bring you more in the future. But ultimately, that's the comics that I've read in the past week or so. And yeah, I mean, it's cool to have a comic that I made in the stack with the other stuff that I really love. So I don't know, comic books are a really great medium. I love them. I love the stories behind them. I love the heart. I love the art. I love how one person can read it and get one thing out of it. Another person can read it and get another thing out of it. I heard it said one time that if you got the best writer and the best artist on the same project, what they would create would be a comic book. And the more I dive into the medium, the more I'm starting to see that as well. Thanks for tuning in to Big Ol' Comic Haul Volume 1, and I will see you on the next one.